Righty, here we go. Hello, this is to go over the exclusive right to sell or lease contract for the entire state of Ohio. This is the agreement that we'll be using to either list your property for sale or list it for lease. So I want to go over the key points really quick so that you understand what it is before you sign it. First part talks about the property itself. We're going to put its description in there, length and type of agreement. This is going to determine whether it is for sale or for lease, how long this agreement will be for. Usually I do these for about 6 months. Agency disclosure, who works on your behalf, and the list price and lease rate will go in section 4. Section 5 talks about my compensation for listing properties for sale. It's usually a percentage of the sale price. These terms are always negotiable, though my charge is 3% if you're listing your property for sale or for lease. We're going to do exactly 1 month's rent. So whatever your 1 month rent is going to be, that will be my compensation for a lease. If they are unrepresented, if the buyer is unrepresented, then you will only pay me for my services as your selling or leasing agent. If they are a dual agency deal, meaning I would be doing double the work, it would be reflected that I would receive the percentage that the buyer agent would get or the buyer's or the tenant's agent would get. This part talks about if we were to terminate our agreement, that I can provide you a list of all the people that have came into the property during the time of which you had it listed for lease or for sale. If any of those people were to go into contract on that property after our agreement has been terminated, that I would still be entitled to compensation at that point. This talks about buyer broker compensation. So while buyer compensation is always negotiable, and I would like to leave it as negotiable, the buyer, when they make an offer to purchase your property, will put their agent's compensation within that contract. And at that point, it is negotiable. So we always want to leave that open. Same thing for a lease. Seller and landlord concession. This just agrees that you're may be asked to give a concession in the form of a credit to the buyer or the prospective tenant. This just says that you're allowed to do that. It is, again, all negotiable. And there are certain terms that must be abided by on that, but that just discloses as to what that is. Authorization to promote. This just gives me permission, to list the property for sale, to advertise it, to put a sign in the front yard, to let it go out to all the websites. Attention is currency when you're selling your property or trying to lease your property. So getting as many eyeballs on it as possible will help me do my job at its best. If there are certain areas of which you do not want the property listed, you need to make that known to me. And then this also gives us into property access. So when we're showing your property, we want to make sure that as many people can see it as possible. This means giving access to buyers' agents and their tenants' agents to access the property without my being there. This is going to be licensed real estate professionals, and they will be able to access it using a lockbox at a pre-scheduled time that you will approve. Broker services, this just talks about all the things that I'm going to do for you. This next section in section 11 says all the things that you're going to do to help me to get your property sold. Section 12 talks about all the things that are going to be included or excluded from the sale of the property. This section talks about your requirement to disclose if you are using recording equipment or surveillance equipment on your property. You cannot watch people without their knowledge. Cancellation, it says that we can mutually cancel this agreement should our working relationship not work out. Binding effect, government law, equal housing opportunity. A lot of these are very self-explanatory. FERPA, it just talks about if you are not a United States citizen, but you're purchasing property in the United States, you're responsible for seeking independent legal and tax advice when purchasing this property. This talks about competing sellers and landlords. Electronic signatures. Everything is done through electronic signature now. It's just so much easier. So this just talks about that you're agreeing to do that. Cyber protection, assignment, meaning we can't assign the rights of the contract to anybody else. Additional terms and conditions we would list right here, and then your signatures, and my signature goes at the bottom. If you have any questions about this document before signing it, you know how to reach me, and I'm happy to help you do explain any of this further. Or if I don't know the answer, I will get it for you.